So you planned your mission, you briefed it, it's time to go out there and execute. Let's talk about how we execute as an effective, high-performing sales team. What does that look like? You need to create a culture of disciplined execution that emphasizes clear advancements for every client interaction. We want to execute flawlessly. We started with a great plan. We started with alignment. Now let's turn that alignment, that inspired alignment, into disciplined execution. Here's one of the big challenges that we run into. This individual said, he's a VP of sales at a top tech company. He said, we don't have a sustainable cadence because we are so end-of-quarter focused. We end up in a blind sprint at the end of each quarter, and that means we have horrible forecasting and revenue projection metrics. And if he's being honest with himself, they kind of pride themselves on that. In other words, they get to the end of the quarter, and they like to beat their chest and say, look at how I stayed up 5 nights in a row. I closed all these deals. I came sprinting across the finish line, and I was just under my quota for this quarter. But guess what? They lost all predictability for their forecasting. They have no idea what the revenue is going to be until the last 3 weeks of the quarter. And so they don't have a streamlined, sustainable execution rhythm. And the reason they don't is because they're not focusing on leading indicators for success. They're not focusing on pipeline in Q1, or in week 1 rather, of that quarter, and then continue to assess those leading indicators as the quarter goes by. So here's the keys to the execution phase. Make the data clear and simple. We did a debrief last week with an individual who's just crushing it in his sales role, and he's leading a great sales team for his region. And the rest of the teams aren't doing quite as well, and we said, what is your secret to success? And he said, honestly, I don't go for the 25 different versions of the Salesforce dashboards that I can build out there. And I've seen those before, and that you can get into some great granular data. But folks, one thing we're not lacking right now is access to data. Most of us are drowning in data, but we're starving for information. So make your information that you share clear and simple with your teams. If you want to go after pipeline, make that one metric. Don't even talk about the 7 different stages that it could be at this point. Just focus your team on that one clear objective. Once again, ensure that you're looking at the leading indicators for success and not just those things that end up on the P&L, that end up in the quarterly report, because the score will take care of itself, as Coach Bill Walsh says. If we do the right things right up front, we have the right behaviors, and as for leading indicators, then we're going to see the right sales at the end. And then finally, create a sustainable execution rhythm and stick to it. I was talking to that same individual, and I said, well, what's your key to leading your team effectively? It looks like your behaviors are all completely standardized. Everybody does the exact same thing. And he said, you know what it is, Thor? I set clear expectations with my team. We have a weekly meeting, and I never cancel it. I said, well, what do you do? You never cancel your meeting. I mean, isn't that common sense? And he said, honestly, no, because we're traveling. We're remotely dispersed. I'm over in Asia. Sometimes that means I'm up at 3 a.m., and I'm dealing with team members that are 12 time zones away. And so I'm challenged to always hold this session, but I never cancel it because I know it's that important for our organization. That's the heartbeat of execution for us. And that's the same way we treat our XGAP sessions. If you run missions with us, you know that we never cancel the weekly update because we need to keep the team's situational awareness and the credibility and the rhythm going so that they're confident that they can execute this together.